In this episode of MoviesMerica, we go under the sea. So if it ain't blue, it's through. People, it's Avatar, the Way of Water.
In a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by MoviesMerica.
Hey everybody, welcome to this latest episode of MoviesMerica. It's a wet and wild version of MoviesMerica today, so throw on your scuba gear or your snorkeling gear or whatever and come on in. The water is fine, all right? Because today we are going to discuss all things Avatar, the Way of Water. So that was 13 years in the making. It took James Cameron that long, or he's waiting that long for the technology to get to the point where he could wow us with this Avatar sequel even more than he did with the original back in 2009. So James Cameron is a very patient man, absolutely. And another thing about this movie, Avatar: The Way of Water, is the action is fantastic. It is phenomenal. There is a train crash scene towards the beginning of it, and it's all a part of, and this isn't a spoiler or anything like that with the movie, but Jake Sully, Sam Worthington, Jake Sully, the main character from the first movie, he's, of course, with the Na'vi now, and when the Sky people show back up, you know, the humans, he leads like an insurgency against them, and they take out a train, and there's a train crash that they cause, and it's pretty cool. So the action starts right off the get-go. I mean, right off the bat, and then there's other action scenes, obviously, throughout this whole over 3-hour movie. And it's later on, the action involves more around like ships, boats, and all that, zipping all over the place. Underwater gadgets, that kind of thing. And yeah, it's a feast for the eyeballs. Now, one thing that James Cameron could have improved on, and actually you could say this a lot, or about a lot of James Cameron's movies, is the dialogue is very elementary. It's very cornball, very corny in a lot of places. He obviously concentrates and fixates on the technology behind getting us to just look at the screen and just like, oh my God, what am I saying? Whoa, But because of that, the screenplays, the dialogue all takes a backseat to it. I just think that, if he really is trying to make a concerted effort to create dialogue, realistic and intrinsically valuable dialogue, interesting, compelling dialogue, he and his fellow writers are failing at it, okay? I wouldn't say miserably, but they're failing at it. So people don't go to James Cameron movies for the screenplay. So that's a good thing working in his favor right there. But it's a good thing that they don't, because they would be severely disappointed. But he definitely needs to up his game with that, because he could have a real masterpiece one of these days, just all around. Because that is the overwhelming theme that people say, like, wow, all his movies are a technical achievement. He's bringing all this new technology, these visual effects, and it's a visual, marvel for the eyes. But that story, that screenplay, it doesn't have to face that, right? He could get by that. He had 13 years, so to take care of the screenplay, right? And a big way, or a big exhibit of how his dialogue is very elementary, very basic, is the way that all the kids talk to each other in this movie. So Sully's and Netiri's Navi kids. And I just don't think he hangs around teenagers a whole lot, or if he has, he hasn't really soaked up how they talk. Because there's a lot of, hey, bro, what's up, bro? Yo, bro, hey, brother. You know, I mean, it's almost like he's hung out too much, like at some skate park, you know, in Tallulah Lake or something. I don't know. He definitely needs to watch somebody's master class on dialogue in movies. Now, before we get too deep in the ocean, I want to remind everybody that this podcast, the video podcast version of it, is on YouTube, Rumble, and many other places that you can think of where you can watch video versions of podcasts there. So it's going to be out there, BitChute. And then also for the audio-only version, there's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeart, Spotify. Just let your imagination run wild as far as where you can have podcasts and all that at, and you'll find it there. Also, if you happen to be on Apple Podcasts, feel free to zip on down to the very bottom of all the episodes and give it a 5-star rating if you would. That'd be fantastic. You just make my day, I tell you. That's only if you feel like it, okay? I mean, if you think this thing is dog crap, don't give it a 5-star rating. We appreciate total honesty here at MoviesMerica Incorporated. Absolutely, okay? And also, the audio-only podcast episodes are at MoviesMerica.com as well. Also, feel free to reach out to me. Open those lines of communication to me here if you want through social media at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook under MoviesMerica, of course. And, I try to get to everybody's DMs to me because I was on that side of it one time. I'm still on that side of it. I have podcasts I'm fans of, and I like to reach out to them and tell them, how much I appreciate their show and that kind of thing. And so you can reach out to me if you want to get a hold of me, that way. Hey, reach out to me. Hey, Van, can I borrow $20? Like, that'd be a way to, reach out to me, but don't do that. I'm extremely stingy with my money, okay? All right. So, hey, as you know, if you've listened to even one other episode of this show, this is not just the home of movie reviews, it's the home of ice cold brews. Yeah. And so, with that, because I don't want to leave this episode empty without a beer to drink, all right, I gotta keep this voice nice and moist. Okay, that sounded kind of weird, but all right, let's get to it. All right, so the lucky beer, since it is the Christmas season, is this is the Carbachi Brewing Company. You'll shoot your eye out. Yes, from A Christmas Story. You bet. Even got the leg lamp on there and everything. I'll tell you, it's fantastic. And you know what? Instead of looking at it, how about I drink it? That's kind of weird drinking a beer under the ocean here, but it tastes great just the same. Absolutely. All right. So, all right, let's get on with the rest of the show. This movie really made you care about the Na'vi and all the ocean creatures. Now, cynical movie watchers that, I don't know, they have like this deep down animus towards the Avatar movies. They call the Na'vi, they call them Smurfs. Okay, so that's the whole funny, snarky joke is Avatar is really dances with Smurfs. Don't you get it? Huh? Aren't I so clever? Oh, it's Ferngully in space. Man, I tell you, it's I bet they. I wonder how long they stood in front of the mirror after they thought of that, chuckling to themselves. Okay, but. Yeah, they think of the Na'vi as Smurfs, but if you've got an objective opinion about this movie, if you're willing to give it a chance, you'll call them the Na'vi. And yeah, you definitely start caring about them, probably because in this movie you're introduced to Jake Sully and Netiri's. They're Na'vi children, okay? And so that endears you to the Navi and then the other characters as well. And then they also introduce some cool ocean creatures, and in primarily for me, I think the ocean creatures that I liked the best were like these big whale-like creatures that they introduce. Those were pretty cool. They're supposed to be smarter than your average whale, where they can compose songs and poetry, and you can communicate with them, and just the visual effects, the detail that they have with those, with these whale creatures. I should know the actual name of them, but these whale creatures, the visual effects, they make them look, very realistic, and so realistic to the point where they develop a personality of their own that makes you feel for these these fake creatures, built by visual effects. It's so James Cameron, hats off to you. Okay, everybody, hey, do me a massive favor, okay? Feel free to like and subscribe this video, okay? If you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, I think on Rumble it's you rumble it, I believe. I think that's the parlance on Rumble. But yeah, do me a solid, I definitely would appreciate it. Promise if I find one of your videos, I'll like it and subscribe myself. Is that a deal? Absolutely. So I'm on board with it if you are. Again, with that, yeah, please like and subscribe to this video here. I enjoy, making these videos for you. I'm trying to keep you informed about this thing called movies. And with that, let's go on with the show. Now, 99% of the humans in this movie are real scumbags, okay? They're pure evil, okay? Or they're evil adjacent. You really want bad things to happen to the humans in this movie. So old Jimmy Cameron isn't trying to make you love the Earthlings at all in this. And I really wanted, just some terrible, terrible things to happen to, particularly the main bad guy in this. But yeah, they just they had particularly one of the characters, the evil or scummy human characters, was this guy that was like the whaling ship captain. Apparently, they reincarnated, or they brought the crocodile hunter back from the dead, and he's the whaling ship captain, because he's on there, he's chewing up the scenery of the, crikey, all right, we got to turn the boat around, and these whales are huge, we're going to get the jet skis over there, release the harness, get me more harpoon, crikey. It's just, where did they get this guy? This movie definitely spends more than enough time with the Navi kids characters to make you really appreciate their personalities and help you care about them. And that's one of the complaints I've heard from some other reviewers, is that they don't like the fact that the Sully and Netiri characters, Sam Worthington and Zoe Saldana, have taken a back seat to the kid characters. But they don't realize that, Sully and Netiri, they had a whole movie, the first movie, okay, for us to get to know them. And obviously, they're going to have their kids in all the subsequent Avatar movies coming out, which is because we're 4 or 5 more of these Avatar movies out there. So the kids are going to probably be a pretty big part of those movies. So might not be the worst idea in the world for everyone to get to know them, all right? And so, yeah, you spend a lot of time with the kids in this. And, at least personally for me, I couldn't help but start connecting with them and hoping good things happen to them and nothing bad happens to them. But the one knock on that, again, as I was kind of touching on it earlier, is that the dynamic between Sully and Netiri's kids and then the kids of some other tribes is just kind of just basic, tropes from movies involving kids that we've seen a bunch of times. And so that could have used a little bit of work, but I think mission accomplished. if their mission was, hey, we're gonna have these kids in the movie enough times and have you see them go through various experiences enough to where you actually care about what happens to them. Because too many movies with the characters, you don't know them. They're just images. They're just figures in a movie. And if they get blown up, you don't care. I don't care about the character. So, yeah, shoot them up, blow them up. I don't care. But in this movie, they realize that that's a mistake, and they help with the characterization. And so this movie knocked that out of the park. Now, in this movie, there is a character named Spider. No, not Spider from Goodfellas that got shot in the foot by Joe Pesci. Not that Spider. No, this is a human character. He's a kid character, but he's a human kid that ends up living with the Na'vi, and the movie explains how that happens. But yeah, he is just the actor that plays this kid character, this Spider. He just cannot act a lick whatsoever. They have him in. He's in this movie a lot. You see a lot of this character, and he's just comes off like trying too hard, and they have him in there as like comic relief, and just the arc of his character is just it lacks a whole lot of something right there. It makes you groan. It makes you roll your eyes, and he just makes a totally stupid decision at the end of the movie that I thought was a definite weakness in the storytelling here, but they did it because the character involved with his decision, they need this character, or they feel they need this character in all the other Avatar movies. As you would expect with any James Cameron movie, yeah, the visual effects are fantastic. I think what adds to it is that I think there is a lot of practical effects that are used in this. It's not just balls to the wall, 100% CGI like in your more average Marvel and DC movies. James Cameron is probably like a lot of us, where he's just sick of just non-stop CGI and filmmakers of like spectacle movies just being lazy and just CGIing everything. That's one of the things I like about like old movies from back in the days when they didn't have CGI to fall back on. It forced them to be innovative and creative, and do cool things, practically. This isn't really an old example, but like The Dark Knight, when Christopher Nolan had the semi-truck, flip over, in reality, right? They did that whole thing as a practical effect. The helicopter crash in The Dark Knight. That was an actual helicopter that they crashed. Practical stuff. And so there's a lot of, I think, practical effects that they do here in Avatar: The Way of the Water, but obviously a lot of it is the CGI, like the underwater scenes and the creatures and that kind of thing. You can't do that practically, of course. But and then also there's a lot of cool ocean gadgets that they have, like these crab-like equipment, or crab-like transport retrieval vehicles and that kind of thing, and other cool gadgets like that I'm not going to spoil all of them. But yeah, I thought that was very, very cool. Now, did we see an actual Anakin Skywalker moment from one of our main characters towards the end of this movie? Check out this movie, and then reach out to me on social media. Like I said, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm out there under MoviesMerica. And yeah, let me know if you thought the same thing, because yeah, there is a moment towards the end of this movie with a major character where they do something that makes me think, is James Cameron going to go Anakin Skywalker with this main character? It's possible. Another one of my gripes about this movie is that I thought that the editing was just too choppy. They transition from one scene to another in a very awkward way in a lot of different scene transitions that they could have done that better. They could have made the transitions, the editing, more seamless. I don't know. Yeah, if the editing just the editing was like a second thought behind all the other things that they did with this movie, but something to work on. Okay, I mean I know that they've shot a lot of the other movies. I think the whole third Avatar movie is completely done. I don't know if it's edited, but if it's not edited, yeah, Jimmy Cameron. I know you're watching this, of course. I mean, how can James Cameron not be running to his computer to watch this show, right? Jimmy boy, spend a little bit more time on the editing. Get it right. Okay, hey, again, another reminder. Please like and subscribe to this video. That would be fantastic, okay? I consider every watcher, every listener here a friend. And what do friends do for each other? They do nice things for each other, right? Yeah, they let you borrow their car. They get your Christmas presents. They like and subscribe to your videos. Yes. Okay. Hint, hint. Do it for me. All right. Thanks, guys. Sam Worthington continues to show that he's got the nuanced personality of a week-old bowl of oatmeal. Okay. I've never been impressed with him in any of his other movies. The Clash of the Titans movies didn't impress me. And but his kind of bland personality actually works in this movie because he's just playing this stoic military discipline type of character. And so it's not as big a liability here as it would be in a movie where he should be more charismatic and endearing and human, but here it works. He's got like a couple of good lines in it, but yeah, he's just just big macho man looking out for his family, which I do respect. How they write him as this father that's looking out for his family, and he's got the line, our family is our fortress, which I like that line. That's good, and I think that's a good aspect of this movie is the idea of a father and a mother protecting their family. Zoe Saldana is not in this movie as much. She, of course, plays Netiri. And again, her and Sully, they had their movie, right, already. They had the first movie. But when she is in the movie, she is fantastic. I mean, she convincingly portrays a mama bear who will stop at nothing to protect her cubs. And God be with you if you harm those cubs. So Stephen Lang, he is back as the evil, calculating Quaritch. I think he's a colonel or a general or something like that. But he's back in the form of an avatar that actually has Quaritch's memories. I won't go into any more detail than that. But that's how Stephen Lang is back in this movie. If you're like, what? How is Stephen Lang in this movie? He got shish kebabbed by Netiri in the first one. That's how. And so, again, he's pretty much the microcosm of how James Cameron thinks of the military, okay? When he's not portraying them as, as evil, calculating, colonizing, men and women, he portrays them as, overly macho, clueless, jarhead Marines, like in Aliens, right? So, the whole Marine crew in Aliens, went and landed on LV 486, whatever it was, and they had no idea what they were getting into with the aliens. So they're just kind of clueless and dumb, and so again, that's just another example of how James Cameron portrays the military. I don't expect like the military to be portrayed as these figures of virtue and goodness in every movie, but you start noticing a trend. There isn't too much of that disease that we all know as wokeness in this movie. There is, the closest I think that there would be to any kind of woke themes in this is that I heard someone, and I didn't even notice it until someone pointed it out, but I guess the girl characters in the movie, primarily the girl characters amongst the Na'vi, when they're learning new things with this different tribe, it seems like they don't have any problems. They don't struggle at all learning the new ways. But the boy characters, they portray them as having trouble learning the new ways. All right. I mean, I think it's kind of reaching. And also, I think another woke aspect of this that didn't really bother me because it wasn't too in your face, but the whole idea of colonization and, the Na'vi are supposed to be kind of stand-ins for the Native Americans, and the military, the sky people, are supposed to be the evil Europeans coming and wiping out the Native Americans, that kind of thing. Now, there is like the environmental themes that James Cameron introduces into this as well. Save the ocean, save the forest, because James Cameron basically is an aging hippie, is what he is. That just happens to be a film director, and he brings that into this movie. But hey, it's his show. He can do what he wants, right? But it's not so in your face that, it makes you groan too much. You know what it is. All right, everybody, we're getting close to the end of this Avatar: The Way of Water episode here at the MoviesMerica Ocean Bottom Studio. Yes, we're all blue down here in this Ocean Bottom location for MoviesMerica Studio this week, okay? But the last thing I'll say is, with this movie and the big box office, a big budget movie, they have their scores, right? Their soundtracks. And the score to this movie, it's adequate. The composer is Simon Franklin, I believe is his name. And he's worked with James Cameron before on Titanic and the first Avatar. And he actually worked with James Horner, who composed the music for the first Avatar, but James Horner sadly, tragically, was killed in a plane crash in 2015, and so Simon Franklin is taking over for him, and so Simon knows James Horner's work. He worked with him here, and Simon Franklin's been around for a while as well. He was like a session musician and a record producer for like Michael Jackson and Katy Perry and Whitney Houston, and so back in the 80s and whatnot. He also did like this the crunchy kind of synth music that was in the movie Seven, from David Fincher. So this composer of Avatar: The Way of Water was responsible for that. But it's a good enough movie soundtrack with that. All right. But hey, with that, everybody, thanks a lot for listening, watching this episode. I sincerely appreciate it there. I'm honored every single time that you join me here. I love bringing this to you, absolutely. And I'll have another episode to you here sooner rather than later. But yeah, please like and subscribe to this video. Feel free to let anybody you even remotely think would like this show here. Just tell them, hey, MoviesMerica. Hey, Cousin Al. Hey, Grandpa Harold. I think you might like this MoviesMerica show. Check it out, all right? And so, again, it's on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, all kinds of places. They can find it at MoviesMerica.com as well, okay? So, all right, with that, like always, hey, people, get out there. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. Bye from the bottom of the ocean. Hey, don't leave quite yet. I'm not done hanging out with you, okay? Hey, while you're still here, make sure to like and subscribe. Right down here, you can like the video and subscribe to the channel if you would. You'd be doing me a solid, absolutely, all right? And also, watch these videos over here. They're getting lonely. They don't want to be left by themselves. Watch them, and if you would, like them. That would be fantastic. Definitely appreciate it. And thanks for watching MoviesMerica and the Till Death Podcast Network.